because LP out there in the number 47 and Tagliani in the number 18. Those will be two to watch when they come to the green for this event, which is 100 laps. Now, a lot of these guys came here with no experience. The crews not sure how to set up for New Hampshire. Got a little advice from some other competitors, but ironically, the guy sitting on the pole is probably the one with the most driving experience here. That's Cole Powell, who ran about 4 or 5 races with the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour and knew this track a little bit, and that may have been the advantage to him to gain that pole yesterday. He'll start from the number 1 spot for today's running of the Visit New Hampshire 100. Let's give him a big wave, ladies and gentlemen, as they come on by. Let's wave off the Pinty Series and let them know that we're ready to see him go 100 laps in the Visit New Hampshire 100. As they come by you down there in the first and second turn, let's give them a wave. They're going to double up side by side and get ready to go green next time for 100 laps in the Visit New Hampshire 100.
One already down pit road, that blue and white 04 machine. That is J.F. Dumoulin. And he's going to come to the attention of his crew. Evidently some sort of technical issue on that 04 as they get ready to go green. So he will be starting behind the 8 ball here as the field is formed up 2 by 2 headed down the back straightaway.
We've got Cole Powell and Kevin Lacroix in the front row, ready to turn them loose for 100 laps as page 1 of this history book that is Full Throttle Weekend here at New Hampshire is about to get underway as they make their way out of turn 4 and towards the granite stripe, looking for the green flag and the start of the Visit New Hampshire 100. Green is in the air and we're underway.
Big jump there for Cole Powell as he pulls out in front by a couple of car lengths. Hard on the hammer is Powell as he heads off into turn number 1. The pack gonna reel him in, and we have got a battle for the lead as they make their way off onto the back straightaway. 3 cars right there together as they try to break away early in the going here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. First ever appearance for the Pinty's Canadian Series here in the United States.
And just like that, the caution flag is out. Yellow is out and will slow him down for trouble on the backstretch.
Looks like the 11 car, heavy damage to the rear of that machine, I do believe. That is Martin Cote in a Dodge, and smoke showing out of the back of that car as he is going to stay out on the racetrack. And it looks like he has either hit something or been hit by something. The back of that car is heavily damaged. He will stay on the racetrack for now, rejoin the rear of the field before making his way to pit road.
And speaking of pit road, let's go there now where Joe Koss is standing by.
In the J.F. Dumoulin pit, who came down pit road, as you mentioned, Pete, under the pace laps there, going under the left side of the car, trying to look at the transmission of this automobile. So a tough start for the veteran driver, for the brothers in the field. LP Dumoulin also, as you mentioned just a few moments ago, trying to go for the championship here today. If he can hang on, of course, 3 drivers still in the running, and among them the race leader Cole Powell. But a tough start for the J.F. Dumoulin team as they sit on pit road, continuing to try to diagnose the problems on this 04 car.
No doubt coming your way will be Martin Cote as well, who damage on the back of that car that brought us the caution flag before we even were able to complete a lap. So this will bunch the field up, but they'll be back to almost the original starting order. Cote on pit road in the number 11, making his way slowly down to his pit stall, as the crew stands by waiting to take a look at that car. And yes, heavy damage to the left rear. He stops, and the crew will immediately jack up the left side and have a look at that damage on the number 11.
Yeah, he has made his way down to pit lane here, Pete. Parked about midway down this long New Hampshire Motor Speedway pit lane. Driver making his 10th start this season, or 10th career start, I should say, in the NASCAR Pinty Series. They've got the left side jacked up. Going to try to take the left rear tire off as it's kind of pushed up against the door sheet metal there on this number 11 for Martin Cote. They've got the work well underway at this point. The rear deck lid is pushed up just a little bit, and that could come into a factor here at New Hampshire. Of course, so much downforce is critical on these flat turns to be able to keep the cars planted around both turn 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4. But right now the job is to try to get that left rear fender pulled away from the left rear tire so it doesn't cut it at the high speeds. They're trying to do that and then get him back out onto the racetrack without using up too much time for car number 11 here after this early race incident.
All right, thanks, Joe. Yeah, already some drama playing out before we even complete a lap in the Visit New Hampshire 100 for the NASCAR Pinty Series. Of course, the Apple Barrel 125 for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series immediately follows this one, and the big NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Musket 250 to wind up the day. And we want to remind everybody, in case you didn't hear that announcement earlier, that big post-race party going on in the infield. You see the fan zone all set up there, which is open all afternoon long, but there'll be a party for all the fans in there. They'll open up the gates and allow you to cross the racetrack about 15 minutes after the conclusion of our post-race interviews, and be a chance to party with the fans. And no doubt some of the drivers and crews will end up over there too in the fan zone immediately following the running of today's races. All part of Full Throttle Weekend here at New Hampshire.
Lots and lots of good stuff going on there in the infield with plenty of great food and drink as we get ready to get back to green. Looks like the caution lights are back out. Looked like we were going to go back to green, but looks like we'll take one more lap behind the pace car. Lots of great food and drink, games for the kids, and much, much more going on in the infield. And the Rory Scott Band playing in the infield from 7 to 10 p.m. tonight. You're going to want to check that out. Also cornhole, jump ropes, hula hoops, and much, much more all there in the infield. As the field is doubled up, looks like next time by we'll get back to green.
Cole Powell really showed his stuff with, of course, the qualifying speed yesterday, but when the green flag dropped, he was able to leap right out with about a 3 or 4 car length lead by the time he got to the first turn, and they'll get them lined up again pretty much back to our original starting order and turn them loose, but not enough laps for them to get a feel for what the race car is going to do. Conditions a little different than yesterday when they qualified. We had a pretty thick overcast here yesterday, believe it or not, cooler. Today we've got a pretty good breeze out there, particularly running right into that breeze as you head down the backstretch today.
Yeah, no question about it. You could see the flags during driver introductions really being blown around. Heavy, heavy breeze. Keeps the temperatures down, which is nice, but can really affect these race cars as they make their way down the straightaways. They can make them tight getting down into the corners or make them loose. So these guys are going to want to take a few laps and really feel out this racetrack. As we get ready to go back to green, Cole Powell will be the pole sitter as we get back to green. To his outside, Kevin LaCroix in the bumper-to-bumper Dodge. And DJ Kennington right there on the inside of row number 2. Kennington, who's done some Monster Energy Cup Series racing this year with the Gaunt Brothers team as well as Premium Motorsports. Getting back to his roots here. So it looks like this time by we will go back to green as the field makes its way toward turn number 3 behind the New Hampshire Motor Speedway Toyota pace car. Cole Powell set to lead him to green once again. As Pete said, a huge jump there for Powell on the initial start. Going to try to do that here once again. As the pace car will peel off and Powell will lead the way.
Looking to get a full lap in here now of the Visit New Hampshire 100 for the NASCAR Pinty Series. Off the 4th turn, they come towards the granite stripe. Green flag is in the air, and once again, Powell will lead them down into turn 1, but not the kind of leap that he got on the initial start. Side by side for second as they race through the 1st and 2nd turn.
Powell with a nose out in front now as Kennington works to the inside, and Lacroix not going to be able to make that move here. Going to try once again as they head back to turn number 3. Will not get it done as the front 3 single file making their way through the north end of the speedway. Powell up off the bottom now.
Yeah, Powell on the outside coming out of 4 opened the door ever so slightly for Lacroix down on the inside, but not able to make the pass on the straightaway. He'll do it again, keep it tucked down low through the first and second turn, and race them side by side out of turn 2.
Lacroix looks like he gets into the corners better than Powell, but Powell, huge drive up, off, and down the straightaway, able to get out to about a 3 or 4 car length lead now as they make their way back into turn number 3.
Cars have settled down into a straight line now as we're coming around to complete the second lap of competition for the NASCAR Pinty Series. Powell who leads them across the stripe, and the front 3 start to pull away, if ever so slightly, down into turn 1.
Single file throughout the field now as the drivers try to get a feel for their race cars, click off some laps here, get into a bit of a rhythm before they go to work and try to move forward in the field. Some of the guys further back trying to figure out what adjustments they might be able to make at the next caution to pick up some speed and work their way forward.
Yeah, they're trying to find the fast way around. That time the 74 of Lacroix tried keeping it up off the bottom through that third and fourth turn. Again, looking for any opportunity to gain some speed. Powell continues to show the way around now with the biggest lead that he's had in the 3 laps of this race heading down the backstretch. He's opened it up to about 5 car lengths on the backstretch, and Lacroix feeling some heat from DJ Kennington right behind him.
Kennington in that 17 car, the Castrol car, going to work on Lacroix. That would be the battle for the second spot off turn number 4 now. Kennington pulls right up on the back bumper of Lacroix.
And he'll race him right down into turn number 1. Again, Kennington looking for an opening. Lacroix holds his position and gains about a length on Powell, but Powell really rockets off that second turn and down the backstretch and expands that lead again.
That second group led by car number 18. That's Alex Tagliani, the former Champ Car and IndyCar driver. Moving over into stock cars, he's run some Xfinity Series cars, run some truck stuff, and now here in the Pinty Series in that 18 machine, trying to run down that front group.
Yeah, Andrew Ranger feeling some heat from M.A. Camarand in the 22, and Donald Teague in the number 24. Those cars are nose to tail on the backstretch. That is the battle just outside the top 5.
Teague with some experience at this racetrack in American Canadian Tour style race cars. Has run several races in those cars, and those cars actually not that far off of these Pinty's cars.
They've kind of broken into 2 groups at this point now as they head through the first and second turn. Again, Lacroix has closed that gap on Powell, took a look to the bottom out of turn 2, but will settle in and follow him down the backstretch.
Single file throughout the field. First 10 or 11 cars have broken away from the rest of the field now, as Powell continues to show the way back out onto the front straightaway. Pretty much unheated here in the first few laps.
Yeah, we got a ways to go, so they'll settle in and feel the car out for a little bit, although a little battle for the 4th spot right now. Tagliani feeling the heat from Andrew Ranger. Ranger right behind him. Went to the bottom for that first and second turn, but did not make the move. Again, will crawl right up on the back bumper as they race through 3 and 4.
Andrew Ranger, with lots of experience and lots of different style race cars, has really found a home here in these Pinty's Series race cars, doing a nice job here as he battles right there in the top 5. Looking for more as they make their way back to turn number 1. Powell continues to show the way off turn number 2.
Yeah, but Powell can't seem to shake Lacroix, who stays within a couple of car lengths on the backstretch, and those 2 guys have started to pull away from DJ Kennington, sort of setting up their own race for the lead. Here's a move done underneath Tagliani's number 18, and Ranger, and the 27 picks up the spot, and while the doors open, the 22 of M.A. Camarand drives underneath. E2 trying to advance 1 spot. That is the battle for the 5th position.
Some slicing and dicing going on for 5th through 9th right there. 4 cars right there together. Tagliani and Ranger in that battle. Also the 79 of Peter Shepard in that Ford part of that battle, as now he tucks to the bottom of the racetrack, tries to pick up position off turn number 4.
Yeah, trying to make it work on the bottom. The 79 with not enough of the momentum momentum out of turn number 4. Took a look down underneath Teague, but unable to make the pass that time around.
So the front 9 have pretty well broken away. As Cole Powell feeling the heat from Lacroix now as he makes the move to the inside down into turn number 3 and makes the pass with ease. Lacroix found something there getting down into turn number 3. Drives around Powell as they head off to the front straightaway.
Lacroix driving in about as hard as you can and made it stick to drive underneath, and now had to drive away from Powell. We have a new leader on lap number 11 as Lacroix makes that pass going into turn 3, makes it work and starts to pull away. He's actually got the biggest lead of the afternoon so far.
Cole Powell's car not driving the way he needs it to as DJ Kennington pulls up on his back bumper now. He tries to make the move that Lacroix did, not able to do so on this lap, but continues along as now he pulls out, peeks to the inside of the front straightaway, can't make that work, settles back in the line as they head for turn number 1.
Joey McComb slow and on the bottom of the racetrack in the number 46. Makes it down into turn 1, but some sort of problem with that race car as he makes his way down the backstretch. Meanwhile, leaders start to spread it out a little bit going into turn 3.
Lacroix way out in front. He's got a comfortable gap right now. Got to think though, if Powell and Kennington can hook up, the draft does play a little bit of a role here at this racetrack. They can get right back up to the back bumper of Lacroix, but for now, Lacroix all by himself, showing the way and having things all his own way here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Yeah, big lead heading down the backstretch and a battle shaping up for second right now. Cole Powell has it, but Kennington up on the back bumper looking for some running room, trying to take that second spot away.
LP DeMoulin, the point leader, rides back in the 9th position. Not what he was looking here for today, as he is leading the points, but by a slim margin coming into this race. He is all the way back in the 9th spot. He's got some work to do if he's going to protect that points lead here this afternoon.
Biggest lead of the afternoon right now for Kevin Lacroix. About 0.8 of a second last time by. We'll check the distance from first to second as they come across the granite stripe this time. For now, the pressure is off Powell as he's got a couple of car lengths over Kennington in the 17. And that battle has cooled off, if ever so slightly, at this point.
Battling further back in the pack as we are 15 laps into this 100-lap event, the Visit New Hampshire 100. As Lacroix continues to show the way in that red and white machine, even pulling away just a bit as they make their way towards the stripe.
And here's that battle for second now. Powell feeling the heat from Kennington as he races underneath, and at number 17 makes the pass down into turn 1. While the door's open, right behind Powell comes Ranger in the number 7, in the 27. Thought about it for a moment, but then backs out and follows him down the backstretch.
And that battle between Powell and Kennington has really allowed Lacroix to get away. He is over a second out in front, 1.3 seconds last time by in front of that battle. Those guys are going to need to settle down and try to run him down if they have any shot at winning this thing.
And Powell's had his hands full of the last few laps now. He's trying to hold off Andrew Ranger in the race for third spot. Ranger makes the pass, and now Tagliani takes a look underneath Powell on the backstretch. That's the race for fourth. So our early leader starting to fade in only 17 laps into the Visit New Hampshire 100.
Powell losing more spots as Tagliani got really loose up off turn number 2 as he worked his way to the inside on Powell, able to gather it up. Now gets the move done. Now that 24, Donald Teague makes the move. He will pick up a spot as Powell continues to tumble. That 3 car just not right here.
Yeah, lost something since we took the green flag, and he continues to be drop kicked back several spots. Meanwhile, the leader continues to stretch it out. It's about a second and a half. Lacroix is over DJ Kennington running second. Andrew Ranger is third. Alex Tagliani is fourth, and Donald Teague is the 5th spot. That's your top 5 as they come around to complete 19 laps of the Visit New Hampshire 100.
Lacroix continues to open up that gap. Thought once Kennington got around Powell, he might be able to make a charge towards Lacroix, but just has not been able to do that. As the gap stays fairly steady at just over a second and a half now for Lacroix, as that car is on their way here in the early going. Teague in second, Ranger in third. That gap at about 3 or 4 car lengths as they make their way off of turn number 3.
Great battle for the 4th spot now, coming down across the stripe. Tagliani has it in the 18, the 24 of Teague, all over the back bumper of Tagliani. Of course, every spot important to Tagliani in that battle for the championship. He was 5 back out of first place coming into this afternoon's running of the Visit New Hampshire 100. Tagliani is feeling the heat from Teague as they race out of turn 4.
Teague doing a nice job using his experience at this racetrack in the American Canadian Tour style cars to work his way forward. Not strong in the early going, but now that we're just past lap 20, looks like that car has come alive a little bit as now he drops to the inside. He'll make the move off turn number 2. Teague tries to hold him down, can't do so. Or rather, Tagliani tried to hold Teague down, unable to do so. Teague able to take away the position. He will move up into the 4th spot and set sail for Andrew Ranger, who runs in 3rd currently.
What has turned out to be the preferred passing spot of the afternoon so far, going into turn 3. Teague makes that clean pass and begins to drive away from Tagliani. Now they're really spread out on the front as we get into almost a quarter of a way through the running of the Visit New Hampshire 100 for the inaugural visit of the NASCAR Pinty Series here at New Hampshire. And so far, they do not disappoint. We got a pretty good race going, particularly from about the 4th spot on back.
Battle for the 7th position now. Powell set to lose another spot as Peter Shepard works to the inside. Can't get it done that time. Powell able to hold him off for now, but Peter Shepard in that 79 car. That is the National Exhaust Ford trying to make his way forward as he continues to work over the back of Powell as they swing around the lap car off turn number 2.
We'll keep an eye on the separation between 1st and 2nd. It was about a 2nd and 2/10 last time, but even so, Andrew Ranger starting to close on DJ Kennington in the race for 2nd as the leader goes across the granite stripe here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway and has completed 24 of our 100 laps. Kevin Lacroix continues to lead, and he has expanded by just a couple of tenths that lead. Meanwhile, the distance between 2nd and 3rd starts to shrink as they head down the backstretch.
Andrew Ranger trying to run down DJ Kennington. Kennington, a longtime stock car competitor. As we said earlier, he's run in the Monster Energy Cup Series several times this year. Kennington gets way wide off turn number 4. Ranger, with experience in all different types of race cars, open wheel and stock car type cars, has settled in here as he battles for the 2nd spot with DJ Kennington as that gap continues to shrink.
So clicking off some pretty good laps, not too far off their qualifying times, and particularly the times that they had in the final practice here yesterday. We talked about conditions a little bit different. Obviously a sunny day. It may not feel warmer sitting in the grandstands for this event, but certainly the sun beating down on the racetrack makes a difference compared to what we had yesterday, which was a pretty thick overcast all the way through. But again, the speed's right up there as they were yesterday during the 2 rounds of practice for the NASCAR Pinty Series. And our leader continues to stretch it out, now 1.7 seconds over DJ Kennington.
Yeah, it's really turned out to be a really nice day here and a good little race going for the Pinty's Canadian Series. Really glad to have them come down and join in with this full throttle weekend. Kind of a unique deal, as a lot of history being made between the length of the modified race and this Pinty Series coming down for the first time ever in the U.S. Some neat stuff going on, and just glad the weather's turned out as nice as it has.
Beautiful fall afternoon here in New England, and we watch Kevin Lacroix continue to expand that lead out in front in the number 74, the bumper-to-bumper Dodge showing the way around. Lacroix was seventh in the points, already has a win in 2018 on the NASCAR Pinty Series, and he's looking to add to that, though we're just past the 1/4 mark of our 100-lap event. 28 laps in the books.
Lacroix continues to show the way as second and third, Kennington and Ranger swing around lap traffic now. Donald Teach trying to run those two down now as he closes in on the back of Andrew Ranger. That would be the battle for third once Teach gets there.
Let's go pit side again and hear from Joe Koss.
Well, Pete, obviously watching where the pole sitter is running at the moment. Cole Powell started out front for today's event for the NASCAR Pinty Canadian Series, and one of the things that you've noticed is he's dropped back a little bit. This was a strategy I think the team was looking to employ today and allow the race to come to them, even though they were running toward the front of the field. One of the reasons is because this race, 100 laps in distance, is a different format for the NASCAR Pinty Series teams. Many times they get a race that has a break in the middle, allow them to change tires and put some new rubber on these race cars. Cole Powell told me before the race here yesterday that his goal was just to be able to keep those tires under him for the end of the race and allow the rest of the field to come back to him. He started out front, he was able to lead early on, but now he's trying to conserve his equipment. I went down and I talked to the crew and they said absolutely nothing is wrong. This is exactly by design. We think over the course of the next 70 laps or so, the rest of the field is going to come to us and it's going to put us in a prime position to be able to capitalize and get the win here today. This team has a lot of pressure on them because if they win this race, they go up to win Jukasa, the final race of the year. They've got a shot at the championship and they control their own destiny. So the only thing that matters to them is a win, and that's what they're going to aim for here today. And that's the strategy you see out of the 3-car, the pole sitter, Cole Powell.
Yeah, they're getting ready for the Pinty's Fall Brawl in Hamilton, Ontario. That'll be next Saturday night, and it certainly will decide the champion for 2018. And we could shake it up a little bit here this weekend, Andy, with the finishing order of this race, which is a pretty long race for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to question Powell's guys, but this seems like risky strategy to me. I mean, this race is shaping up to have a lot of green flag racing, and could be tough for him to make his way back forward, even with tires that are saved a little bit. So, you know, again, hate to question those guys. They know better than I do, but it seems a bit risky to fall this far back this early in the race.
Pretty good battle on the backstretch right now between the 18 and the 22. Tagliani was trying to hold off Emi Cameron, but he just rocketed underneath him going into turn 3. And while the doors open, the 79 of Peter Shepard III will make a move too. So those two have advanced the position just in this last lap. And again, right behind them is Cole Powell in the number 3, our original pole sitter and early leader of this race. Equally as good, a battle going into turn 3. That is for the second spot.
Yeah, Andrew Ranger pulls right up on the back of DJ Kennington. Kennington up the hill off turn number 4, as he has done for most of the laps, 10 or 15 laps. That car will not stay on the bottom of the racetrack off the corners. Andrew Ranger trying to take advantage as he is closed in, and Donald Teach right there as well, as here goes Ranger back to the bottom of the racetrack, going to try to take over that second spot.
Yeah, Ranger thinking that at this point of the race he can test that race car down on the bottom and find the grip that he needs, and that's what he did through 1 and 2, and this time is able to make the pass going into turn 3. So he moves into the second spot, score Andrew Ranger second, and now Kennington's got his hands full with the 24 of Teague, as Teague's racing him on the bottom as they go down into turn 1.
Still out in front, Lacroix comfortably. Healthy gap, 12 or 15 car lengths, amounts to 1.7 seconds is the gap back to Andrew Ranger, but Ranger is coming. He has a very, very fast race car here in the middle part of this race. Donald Teach up into the 3rd spot. DJ Kennington has been kicked back to 4th, as those 4 absolutely breaking away from the rest of the field. They're going to try to settle this thing amongst themselves as Lacroix continues to show the way into turn number 1.
You got to go back almost a straightaway, but a good battle for the 5th spot. Shepard has gotten that in the number 79, gets around the 22 of M.A. Cameron, and so score Shepard now inside the top 5. He's got some real estate to cover if he's going to catch the top 4 out in front. They've got about a straightaway over him, but again, got a long way to go. 36 laps, about to complete 37 of the Visit New Hampshire 100.
So interesting strategy going on. You got guys like Lacroix who are absolutely going for it here in the early going. Powell, as Joe said, has fallen to the back of the pack and is just riding, saving his stuff. And a bunch of different strategies in between there as guys pacing themselves, other guys going pretty hard. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out as we work our way about third distance now here in this 100-lap event.
The leader comes off the fourth turn, Kevin Lacroix. Again, we'll check the distance between first and second, but it continues to be a pretty healthy one since Ranger made the pass to get into second. He's tried to reel it in, but again, as we check that distance, it remains about the same, 1.7 seconds for our leader Lacroix. Andrew Ranger runs second, Donald Teague is third, DJ Kennington is fourth, Peter Shepard the third rounds out the top five. Then it's M.A. Cameron in sixth, Alex Tagliani is seventh, Cole Powell is eighth, LP Dumoulin is ninth, and Anthony Simoni is in the 10th spot.
And Lacroix isn't that far back from starting to put some decent cars a lap down. He is just about on the same straightaway with some of the guys at the back of the field. So before this thing's done, if we stay green, those lap cars could become a part of this thing. Very interesting as we work our way towards halfway here.
And we'll see how they set those cars up to try and make a run in the second half of this. If this is any indication in the early going, Kevin Lacroix's team sort of hit the right setup as, again, he is maintaining that lead on the backstretch. Took him the opening 10 or 12 laps to get up there, but once he did, he hasn't looked back.
Yeah, he's been very convincing in his leading of the race as he continues to show the way. Not sure if Ranger is really giving his all at this point. He may be saving a little something, but has not been able to get into that lead of Lacroix in that bumper-to-bumper sponsored number 74, the Dodge-powered machine. Comfortably out in front and riding. Ranger in second in the Mopar machine. And in third, Donald Teague in that 24 car, the Mercedes of St. Nicholas Chevrolet.
And then you stop and think about it with the distance between the fourth and fifth place car. Shepard, who currently runs fifth, again, he's got a lot of ground to cover if he's going to get back up there. But we'll see again, as Joe mentioned earlier, about the race coming to our pole sitter, and we're getting to that point where the wear of all these green flag laps can come into play. We're just about approaching the halfway mark of the Visit New Hampshire 100.
Yeah, the problem that Powell runs into here is he's about a half a lap behind. This is just over 1 mile oval, and Powell is about a half a lap behind. And so he's got to be counting on some caution laps here late in the going to get himself bunched up with those front drivers. He is a long way off the pace as he employs that strategy of really saving his stuff for the late going.
Yeah, we start to see that lead shrink ever so slightly down to about 1.2 seconds the last time by. Lacroix over Andrew Ranger. And again, as we said, as we get to the halfway point, the setup of the cars can change. Again, these cars have not run on this racetrack ever before. All new to the crew chiefs and the drivers, and they could get some advice. We do have a caution flag. Yellow is out. Caution is out on lap 44 of the Visit New Hampshire 100. Let's go to Joe Koss on pit road. Joe.
Talking just a moment ago about how the different variety of drivers and backgrounds and skill sets that they have coming into this event. You look at like the race leader, Kevin Lacroix. He's a guy who has been very successful in the NASCAR Pinty series. He's won a race every single year that he's contested, came back on tour after taking some time away over the 2013 up to about 2015 or so, and now he's back in it. But he's got a a road race background. Used to be part of a BMW program, Formula BMW, ran the Star Mazda series as well. Still runs some road races from time to time. That's where his experience lies. You look at a guy like Andy Ranger, he's a guy who's been around quite a bit, 24-time series winner in this particular division, had a lot of success throughout his career in stock cars as well. Of course, a 2-time champion in the NASCAR Pinty series. But what he has a lot of fun with and is a driver for Ski-Doo. He does a lot of testing and off-road for Ski-Doo snowmobiles in the off-season. And so you've got a lot of drivers in this field with different backgrounds. And to your point earlier in the broadcast, not many of them have a ton of experience on ovals, especially ones that are that large like today here at the Magic Mile at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So it creates an interesting dynamic among the competitors.
Well, don't go too far away, Joe, as the pits are now open and we've got at least a handful of takers start to make their way down. That includes Teague in the 24, also Kennington in the 17, Tagliani in the 18, and our pole sitter and early leader Cole Powell all on pit road. Let's go back down to Joe Koss.
Plenty of opportunity to come down pit lane. Now, one of the things that these teams were a bit concerned about was going to be fuel mileage. They were able to go just about 90, or I should say 102 laps or so in this race, which would have cut it very, very close. So that's why DJ Kennington and his team decided to come down pit lane, get some fuel. They also made an adjustment to the chassis over there on the right side, and we'll send him back out onto the racetrack. Same could be said for the Cole Powell machine. They'll put fuel in that car and make some adjustments. Remember, no tires can be changed throughout this race unless you've got a flat or something like that, but no scheduled tire changes, so you've got to be able to conserve your equipment. Now, a couple of teams do have enough fuel to be able to go the rest of the way in case this race goes a little bit long.
Yeah, interesting strategy there. Just those guys, the only ones going to take fuel, and well, maybe they know something that the other guys don't, but again, a decision has to be made. They decided to add to the fuel load just in case, as Joe said, we end up going beyond the scheduled distance of the Visit New Hampshire 100 for the NASCAR Pinty series. So as we say, this kind of changes everything. We're approaching the halfway mark and basically back on a level playing field as far as bunching them up for the restart.
Yeah, and Joel told us about that strategy that Cole Powell is playing as they're really trying to save their stuff. This may have played right into his hands. How hard has everybody gone? Have guys like Lacroix and Ranger really abused their tires? Or do they have something left in the bank? We think Powell might have a lot left in the bank as he is saved as we are under caution. Looks like some debris up there in turn number 4 as the cleanup crew's out, getting that taken care of. Looks like they will make their way back to the infield. Be just about ready to get back to it when they make their way back to the granite stripe.
Lights are off on the Toyota Pace cars. It makes its way down the back stretch, and they're doubled up side by side. Kevin Lacroix and Andrew Ranger in that front row. Then Peter Shepard III and M.A. Cameron start in row number 2. So again, going to be for an interesting restart. As you pointed out, particularly with a little wear on these tires as we're just about at the halfway mark. Pace car is off, and they come towards the granite stripe. Green flag goes in the air. Back underway, and Lacroix gets a good start. He'll lead them down into turn 1. Meanwhile, Ranger dives to the bottom to protect the inside as they race down through the first and second turn.
Peter Shepard right there in third as the front 3 trying to break away. Now the front 2 trying to break away. Lacroix in that 74 and Ranger in the 27. Shepard and Ranger fight in the 79. Front 3 trying to break away. Behind them, M.A. Cameron there in 4th as he is feeling some heat from behind now.
Yeah, and Lacroix trying to pull away and regain that kind of lead that he had before we went under caution. As those cars that came for fuel are trying to pick their way back through some of the back markers, making their way up back into the top 10.
That 11 car of Martin Cote continues to circulate out there with that heavy rear end damage, going another lap down as they make their way down the back straightaway. Lacroix now opening up the gap. Ranger trying to close it up down into turn number 3, can't get there. As Lacroix off turn number 4 will continue to hold the top spot by a couple of car lengths on the front straightaway.
Boy, we had a 3-wide battle, 3 wide going into turn 3 as they raced down off the backstretch. That's from 7th spot on back. The beneficiary of that will be the 24 of Donald Teague. You can see some of those donuts on the side of the car as they were really racing tight going down there into turn 3, but he hung tough and is able to pick up that 7th spot in the number 24 and making his march back to the front.
He's known for his hard-nosed style of racing from his American-Canadian Tour days as he works his way forward, not afraid to make it 3 wide. DJ Kennington now trying to make the move on Adam Martin in that 19 as they try to make their way back to the front of the field.
Meanwhile, the leader heads off the second turn and down the backstretch. Lacroix has not been able to shake Andrew Ranger. He's got him by about 3 car lengths going down into turn 3, but Ranger stays within striking distance. Shepard all by himself in a comfortable 3rd as the race for the lead heats up out of turn 4.
The battle for the 4th position heating up as well, now settling out as the 22 of M.A. Cameron was feeling heavy heat from Simone behind him. Cameron able to separate himself as Ranger goes back to work on Lacroix as they make their way off turn number 2. The gap down to about a car length down the back straightaway.
And up front again continues to be a 2-car battle between Lacroix and the 27 of Andrew Ranger. Again, Ranger keeps it on the low side, crawls right up on the back bumper of Lacroix, but Lacroix will lead him down the front stretch and across the stripe.
Donald Teach going to work now as he pulls up on the back of LP Dumoulin and tries to pick up a spot. Teach down to turn number 1 right there on the back bumper of the 47. Drops to the inside. He'll try to power off turn number 2. He'll pull alongside and try to take that position away. That is a battle for the 6th position now as Teach tries to work his way back to the front.
Yeah, one of those cars that went in to take fuel under the caution. He's been on a tear since we got back to green flag racing and has picked up another spot as the leaders again click off another lap. And Ranger stays within striking distance of our leader. Lacroix just can't seem to shake him.
Really thought Cole Powell might be more aggressive in making his way back toward the front after that caution, but he continues to ride, continues to save that equipment, not battle around other cars and just do what he needs to do, continuing that strategy of saving the tires.
Alex Tagliani trying to get back into the top 10 in the number 18. Making a move down underneath the 19 of Adam Martin and does it. So Tagliani up to the 10th spot. And he too is one of those cars that stopped under the caution and trying to work his way back up to the front.
Kevin Lacroix continues to show the way. Andrew Ranger within a couple of car lengths continues to stalk him. Those guys seem willing to just ride out in the front and maintain that lead. Peter Shepard in the 79 in 3rd now. He is a fair gap back, but comfortably in 3rd all by himself as they make their way out of the front straightaway.
Great battle for the lead. Andrew Ranger just waiting for an opportunity to take a shot at Lacroix. Again, Ranger keeps that car down on the low side. Lacroix lets it drift up one groove through the 1st and 2nd turn. That gives him enough of momentum to launch him out of the turn and maintain that lead. But again, it shrinks from 2 car lengths to 1 car length to bumper with each lap that goes by.
Things starting to get interesting back at 7th. Points leader LP Dumoulin. Here comes DJ Kennington. Kennington going to take that 7th spot away from our points leader. Cole Powell going to try to follow him through. Powell looks like he's ready to go. Alex Tagliani will be up next as he tries to fill the hole down into turn number 1. Dumoulin, the points leader, has already lost 1 spot. Now 2 spots. Now can Tagliani take advantage as well as they make their way off turn number 2. Tagliani pulls up on the back bumper. They look to the inside as they make their way down the back straightaway. Yes, headed for turn number 3. Dumoulin preparing to lose another spot as they get to turn number 3. Dumoulin, the points leader, is falling back in a hurry here.
Yeah, he's been passed by 3 cars in just the last lap and a half as Tagliani makes that pass and now will move on up into the 9th spot as again he's embroiled in the point battle with Dumoulin, just 5 points back coming into this weekend's racing program, so every spot is important to the number 18.
Alex Tagliani picking up a couple of spots on Dumoulin as they run. The gap was 5 coming into the night. Tagliani ahead by 1 spot now back to the front of of the field. Kevin Lacroix continues to hold off Andrew Ranger. Ranger looks to the bottom again. He'll look to the top occasionally, really keeping Lacroix guessing as they make their way down the back straightaway, separated by a couple of car lengths. Andrew Ranger, is he saving his stuff for a charge at the end? Or is this all he's got? Does Kevin Lacroix have the best car here as we work our way towards lap number 60 of 100?
Yeah, 40 to go when they come across the stripe this time. And again, Ranger keeps that car down low, takes a pull underneath the 74, but not enough to make the pass. Could be that he's just comfortable to sit there and ride with him, stay within striking distance. Maybe he doesn't actually want to take over the lead yet. Of course, when we get to the Musket 250 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour this afternoon, that'll make a difference because they're paying $100 a lap to lead that thing. And so, believe me, you're out front for a handful of laps. You got a bigger check when the day is over.
Well, yeah, you could pay the tire bill with lap money if you lead a bunch of laps. So a lot more incentive to lead laps in this race than here, as the front two just kind of riding along. Ranger drops to the bottom once again. Lacroix will maintain the top. Peter Shepard, rather. Shepard in that black number 79 has been able to maintain that third spot, but he just can't run down the front two. Those two cars, Ranger and Lacroix, seem to be a bit better than Shepard as Ranger looks to the inside. Looks like he's going to try to make a move off turn number 4, and once again Lacroix able to power off onto the front straightaway and maintain the top spot.
I just can't make it work down low, at least to make the pass for the lead, but he stays within striking distance. That's the best battle on the racetrack right now as the rest of the field gets a little bit spread out. 62 laps complete of the Visit New Hampshire 100 for the NASCAR Pinty Series here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And right now, about the biggest lead since we got back to the green flag. It's up to about 4 car lengths on the backstretch. Again, we see Lacroix looks like he might slip up the racetrack ever so slightly in the turns, and that's where Ranger makes up the difference. But with each lap now, he's losing about a half a car length. So we'll see. It could be that Lacroix is flexing some muscle here as we get into what's soon to be the final stages of this 100 lap event.
Lacroix has the advantage that he can run the line that he wants. Ranger needs to pick a line that Lacroix is not running if he's going to make it around. He can run exactly where he wants to on the racetrack, and as you said, car drifts up just a little bit in the middle part of the corner, but he can let it do that and continue to be comfortable out in front.
Yeah, and Ranger himself isn't running as low on the racetrack through the turns as he was a handful of laps ago, and also could be doing that for a little bit of tire conservation to make a run here when we get into the closing stages. Again, the biggest lead right now at about a half a second from first to second. And the question is whether some of those other cars from third on back can reel him in, like Peter Shepard, the third, has been running in the third spot for quite a bit now, but doesn't seem to be gaining on our two leaders.
In fourth spot, M.A. Cameron rides along, doing a nice job as he maintains a solid top 5 run here. Nice run for him. As we make our way, we run lap 65 here of 100. For those of you here in the grandstands at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, you can look down in the infield and see technical inspection ongoing for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, as those guys are going to go 250 laps. $100 a lap, as Pete told you. It's going to be a healthy payday for several drivers here this afternoon, but technical inspection ongoing for those guys as Kevin Lacroix continues to lead here in the NASCAR Pinty Series out of Canada. What used to be CASCAR, the Canadian version of NASCAR. NASCAR took over several years ago, got the Pinty's sponsorship, the Pinty's branding, and the series is taken off. It's a fun little series. They run a bunch of road course stuff, and it's a ton of fun to watch those guys on the road courses.
Yes, and a lot of people made it down from Canada this weekend to see this race here at New Hampshire. As you can tell by coming into the Speedway today, taking a look at the parking lot, seeing all the Canadian plates out there. We welcome them if they're here for their first time at the Magic Mile. I'm glad that you can be a part of it. Hope you make your way down to the fan zone there in the middle of the racetrack immediately following today's program for the post-race party that's going to be going on there. And have some fun here with us here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Looking at the top 10 as we've completed 68 laps of the Visit New Hampshire 100. Kevin Lacroix continues to lead now with about a 0.4 of a second distance over Andrew Ranger, who is second. Peter Shepard III is third. M.A. Cameron runs in fourth, and Anthony Simoni is in the fifth spot. Donald Teague is sixth. DJ Kennington is seventh. Cole Powell is eighth. Alex Tagliani is ninth, and LP Dumoulin rounds out the top 10.
So that points battle continues there at the back of the top 10, 9th and 10th. The points leader, the top two in points rather, running 9th and 10th. Alex Tagliani comes into the day just 5 points behind Dumoulin. And so they will take that battle to the final round. Cole Powell had hoped to join that battle, but looks like that is not going to happen. He was 24 points out into this event and has not been able to do a whole lot of anything as he employs a tire conservation strategy. He runs right in front of those 2 point getters, so it looks like it may be a 2-car battle for the championship when they head back to the Jacasa Motors Speedway up in Canada.
Off the second turn and down the backstretch go the leaders again. Ranger stays within striking distance. Keeping about a 3 to 4 car length lead is Lacroix in that number 74. Then you're going to go quite a ways back to our third place runner, Peter Shepard, all by himself. Him now negotiating the third and fourth turn. They come across the stripe to complete 71 laps of the Visit New Hampshire 100.
Working our way towards 3/4 distance, a race. And there's only seen 2 cars. Oh, smoke out of the Andrew Ranger machine. Andrew Ranger, heavy smoke off turn number 2 out of the back of that 27 car. Not sure. Oh, there it is again as he makes his way down into turn number 3. Not sure if there's an engine problem. He is off the pace. He is going to head down pit road. No, he is not. Stays out on the racetrack. Andrew Ranger in the 27 with problems on that machine.
And the car now slowing here on the front stretch, and again back to the heavy smoke when he gets in the turn. So when he's off the throttle, we'll get a lot of smoke from that race car. That certainly changes things. Shepard will work to the outside of him as Ranger giving it up and pulls to the bottom of the racetrack. Obviously some serious problems with that number 27.
And looks like the rear end is moving out around under that race car. He's broken the Panhard bar or a Panhard bar bracket. And so that his tire rub, as he goes into the corners, the rear end shifts and it rubs. Then he goes down the straightaways. The rear end moves away from the sheet metal. So broken parts on the back of that 27 car are going to take Andrew Ranger out of contention from the win. You can see that the car is kind of catwalking down pit road as the rear end no longer square under that car.
Tough break for the 27. Let's get a closer look as he pulls into his pit stall down there. Here's Joe.
Well, Pete and Andy, the other problem that they have is the left rear tire has gone down on that machine as well. Hard to tell if that was a cause of the original issue or whether or not that was the reason why that truck arm started moving back and forth. So they're working on the left side, trying to get that car lifted up so they can get a new tire on it and then see if they can make repairs for the 27 Andy Ranger, who was right in the thick of it through the duration of this event. So a tough break for this team.
Yeah, but a great break for our leader, Kevin Lacroix, who now has an over 5-second lead. He takes a big sigh of relief when that went down, as Ranger had been stalking him since the green flag after our restart, and now he's got the better part of a straightaway lead over Peter Shepard. Shepard is quite a ways back from our leader, and at this point, Lacroix can kind of save it as he's completed 75 laps of the Visit New Hampshire 100 and has a very healthy lead.
5.5 seconds is the gap between Lacroix and Shepard. That translates to about a straightaway, as Pete told you. Maybe not quite a straightaway, but a healthy gap nonetheless. Car number 22, M.A. Cameron, up into the third position. Donald Teague, one of those guys that came down pit road earlier, is in the fourth spot now, and rounding out the top 5, Anthony Simone. Great run for him as he rides in that 5th position. The top 5 pretty spread out here as they work their way around the racetrack, clicking off laps as we head towards the finish of this.
And now as Lacroix goes across the stripe, he can look up into the mirror and see nothing but clear racetrack behind him, because again, almost a straightaway lead over the 79 of Shepherd.
Kevin Lacroix having things all his own way here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The Visit New Hampshire 100, 77 laps in the books, coming up on 78 in the books, 22 to go in what has been an outstanding event. For most of it, we had a great battle for the lead. The last 30 or 40 laps, Andrew Ranger had stalked Kevin Lacroix, but then a broken part in the rear end caused the left rear tire to go down, and his day comes to an end as he sits on pit road. The team continues to work on that car, but he will not be a contender for the win. And without a caution, it looks like nobody else is either. Kevin Lacroix absolutely dominant at this point in the race.
Yeah, and Ranger, who was 6th in the points coming into the weekend, just a handful of points over Kevin Lacroix, who was 7th, so Ranger could lose a couple of spots in the points. He'd like to get that fixed and come out and turn some laps. A little bit of urgency from the crew down there to see if it's something that they can repair while they're on pit road. And although we're not losing any other cars right now, coming back out of the track, he won't necessarily advance that many positions unless a couple more cars drop out before the end. But we've got just about 20 laps to go, and our leader maintains that now almost 6-second lead.
Absolutely dominant at this point in the race. The only guy that could run with Kevin Lacroix was Andrew Ranger, and he sits on pit road efforting repairs on that machine. In second, Peter Shepherd doing a nice job as he has a comfortable lead, about a 5-car length lead over the 3rd place runner. As we go at this point, that would be the 22 of Smolna as they make their way down the back straightaway. And inside 20 laps to go.
Yeah, that gap, 3rd, 4th, and 5th closing up a little bit too, as Shepherd now he's going to feel the heat from the 22 of Cameron. They race down into turn number 1. Shepherd, who had a very comfortable 3rd place going before Ranger dropped out, now has some serious competition as the gap is closing between 2nd and 3rd. And not too far off of that battle is Donald Teague in the 24 running in the 4th spot. So these 3 cars are all within striking distance as they race out of turn 4.
And the folks that make this series possible for NASCAR Pinty's were founded in 1943. They produce and provide a complete range of premium quality fresh and frozen chicken products to the retail and food service industry throughout Canada. Pinty's, a proud sponsor of the NASCAR Pinty's series, as they make their United States debut, and Kevin Lacroix absolutely making a party out of it for he and his team, as he is pretty well checked out. Without the benefit of a caution, it looks like it is his race to lose at this point.
Yeah, barring any mechanical problems for sure, and I'm sure that's far from his mind at this point, as he's going to go into the history books of winning the first ever NASCAR Pinty Series race here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. If he can keep it up, as you said, that lead, 5 seconds, so he'll encounter some of the lap traffic here before too long. But again, the laps continue to click off. We'll have 84 complete of the Visit New Hampshire 100 when he crosses the stripe this time.
Peter Shepherd continues to run in second. M.A. Cameron in third in that GM Pale machine, as that is the top 3. 4th position at this point, Donald Teague doing a nice job, has not been able to advance further than that despite the pit stop for fuel and adjustments. He is comfortable on fuel, and rounding out the top 5 is Anthony Simone, as a nice run for him, but a long way back from Donald Teague.
Yeah, he's got a straightaway. Teague has got a straightaway over Simone as they race now through the 3rd and 4th turn. We continue to watch that battle for 2nd. Again, it's about the same length between 2nd and 3rd, as Cameron trying to close the gap on Shepherd in that race for 2nd as they head down the backstretch. So they're going to encounter the same lap traffic that the leader did a couple of laps ago, and they're going to have to negotiate their way through.
Thought maybe the experience of a few of these guys might pay off. Donald Teague in the American Canadian Tour style cars, as well as Cole Powell in the NASCAR Whelen modified style cars. Thought that experience might pay off, but just doesn't seem like it's coming to the forefront here today. As a guy who's never raced on this racetrack is out in front.
Shepard picks his way through the lap traffic in the first and second turn. And now Cameron has to do the same thing. He's going to have to split those lap cars. And wow, just barely squeezes through going into turn 3. Didn't help him in his race for the second spot, though, as now Donald Teague's going to pick his way through.
Martin Cotet continues to circulate around in that 11 car after that opening lap incident where he got into something, backed it into something, and heavy damage on the rear of that car. The team has propped the spoiler up the best they can, but that car just not right as he's a number of laps down, but continues to circulate around and have a little fun here on this Saturday afternoon.
The leader makes his way out of turn 4 and across the stripe. He has completed 88 laps of the Visit New Hampshire 100. Can pretty much coast home now, provided no mechanical issues here in the late stages of the race. He thought he was going to get into a battle with Andrew Ranger until Ranger went out with mechanical problems a handful of laps ago. Ranger 14 laps down, is being scored in the 15th spot here late in this race.
Lacroix comfortably out in front. The bumper-to-bumper auto parts, number 74, that red and white machine, absolutely dominant here in the late going today. He's really changed his line a lot. When he was trying to hold off Ranger, as Ranger making his way, he was going to head for the garage. That 27 car done for the day. Tough break for the Mopar team. Lacroix had really let the race car run up the hill when he was trying to hold off Ranger. Now that he's all by himself, taking a much more conservative line, keeping himself away from that outside wall as he makes his way up off turns 2 and 4.
Good battle for the second spot now down into turn 1. Here is Cameron with a move down underneath Shepard. Finally caught him and passed him to take over second. So a whole separate race right there in the battle for second. And he's able to make that move as he not only reeled him in, but was able to make the pass. So M.A. Cameron goes to second. Shepard is shuffled back to third. Then you're going to go back several lengths to Donald Teague fourth. And Anthony Simoni is in the 5th spot, but he's quite a ways off of our 4th place runner, Teague, as again we continue to clip the laps off at a pretty good pace here. Just 9 to go.
Shepard trying to stay with that 22 car of Cameron. Shepard in the black 79 trying to stay with him, but now Cameron starting to open up that gap just a little bit, as Teague would love to run down Shepard, but just running out of laps. And then Simoni further back. Does not look like he is going to be able to advance his position without the aid of a caution or mechanical difficulties on the cars in front of him, as Cameron continues to open up the gap on Shepard now.
And taking a look at our pole sitter and very early leader of this race, Cole Powell, in the number 3. He's running in the 6th spot, but closing on DJ Kennington in the 17. That is a race to get back into the top 5 for Powell as they head out of turn 2 and down the backstretch. They too will encounter some of that lap traffic and have to pick their way through here in the late stages. Now just 7 laps to go.
Battle now between the two top point getters. 47 LP Dumoulin picks up a spot on Alex Tagliani as they make their way off of turn number 2. Powell needs to continue to advance as many positions as he can if he wants a shot at that championship when they head back to Canada and the Jacasa Motor Speedway.
Boy, that battle between Dumoulin and Tagliani isn't over yet. They're going to go 3 wide out of turn 2. Tagliani tried to use that lap car as a pick, and it didn't work. Dumoulin had held tough. But now Tagliani pulls back out in front of him as they head down the backstretch. Again, Tagliani tries to use the lap car as a blocker. They'll go 3 wide again momentarily, and Tagliani will lead him across the stripe. We've been talking about the fact that that is a battle for the point standings up in front, as Dumoulin was leading Tagliani by only 5 coming into this event. So if Tagliani can stay in front of him, it's to his advantage. But again, they're dicing it out on the backstretch. That's the best race on the track right now, even though that's back just inside the top 10, talking about 8th and 9th. They are side by side and about to come into some heavy traffic as they race out of turn 4.
Things really good there in the back half of the top 10. It's almost easy to forget that Lacroix is way out in front leading this thing. No real racing through the top 4, but back at 5th on back, things really starting to liven up, and that's where all the points leaders are getting. Lacroix back out onto the front straightaway. He'll cross the granite stripe. 4 laps to go. 4 more trips to go as Powell tries to pick up a spot on Kennington through turns 3 and 4. Dumoulin right there on Alex Tagliani. Those two continue to duke it out.
Yeah, this is a great race here for both of those positions. Kennington and Powell, Tagliani and Dumoulin, they're all racing right together down into turn 1. They're going to fight at it all the way to the end, and that is going to be only about 3 laps more.
Dumoulin drops to the bottom on Tagliani. Looked like he was going to pick up the spot, couldn't do it. Powell the same on Kennington as they work their way back to turn number 3. Powell within a couple of car lengths of Kennington. Dumoulin right on the back bumper of Tagliani. Those are the 2 battles on the racetrack right now, and those are the 2 battles in the point standings. Keep your eyes there as Lacroix continues to show the way down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and Kennington with Powell on the back bumper, and Tagliani using the second groove right up there is going to make Dumoulin go way to the bottom. He's going to make the pass. Now he's got a little bit of breathing room, couple of car lengths as they head out of turn 2 down the backstretch.
Lacroix, 2 laps to go now, 2 to go to pick up a dominating win, but Kennington and Powell continue to battle. Powell trying to drive away off turn number 2, get some clearance on Kennington. Tagliani in the 18 trying to do the same to Dumoulin in the 47 as they make their way down the front straightaway.
Yeah, Powell now up into the top 5 as he was able to make that pass on Kennington going into turn number 3. And he'll be 5th. Kennington is 6th. Tagliani is 7th. Or rather, Simoni is 7th and Tagliani is 8th as they go under the white flag, and just 1 more lap to go.
Kevin Lacroix off of turn number 2 and out onto the back straightaway. He has just about a straightaway lead. Things going all his way here as now Powell has separated himself from Kennington, and it looks like Tagliani is going to do the same from Dumoulin as they make their way off turn number 4. Here comes Kevin Lacroix.
Kevin Lacroix will be coming to the checkered flag. Meanwhile, a tough break for M.A. Cameron, who dropped onto pit road, but the checkered flag is there, and Lacroix wins it. Wins it by quite a distance. Here's your second place driver across the stripe. Shepard in the 79. Then Teague in the 24 will be in the 3rd spot. Powell comes back to recover for 4th because Cameron ran out of fuel getting down onto pit road. So Powell will be 4th. DJ Kennington will be scored 5th. Anthony Simoni will be 6th. Alex Tagliani 7th. LP Dumoulin 8th. Amani Williams with a nice recovery will finish 9th. And Cameron unofficially scored in the 10th spot. All those cars, most of those cars up until Williams on the lead lap. So we have a thrilling finish, even though the leader wins this thing by over 5 seconds. We had some great battles just inside and outside the top 5 all the way to the checkered flag.
And not just battles on the racetrack, but battles in the point standings. Cole Powell going to pick up some points. Looked like Alex Tagliani will pick up a point or 2 on Dumoulin as they head to Jakarta. Things tightening up. 1 race to go here for the Pinty's NASCAR Canadian Series as Lacroix here with a little bit of a burnout on the front straightaway in celebration of the win. Peter Shepard right there giving him room to do the donuts now as Lacroix having a little bit of fun as he wins the first ever United States round of the NASCAR Pinty Series here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in the Visit New Hampshire 100.
Yes, and he's about to pull up and pick up that checkered flag to take his victory lap, the historic victory lap here at the Magic Mile as he enters the record books by winning the first ever Pinty Series race, the Visit New Hampshire 100. And he's actually got to get unstrapped in order to reach the flagman who passes the checkered flag through the fence. And he will proudly display that flag as he leaves the start-finish line, and a bit more of a burnout for that bumper-to-bumper number 74. And he'll make his way around the Magic Mile, celebrating a big win here this afternoon. We will, right after our Victory Lane ceremonies, we'll move right into the Apple Barrel 125 for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series. You can see those cars making their way out onto the racetrack now.
And NASCAR and Pinty share a common goal of delivering the highest quality product to their loyal and passionate fans. Pinty's is proud to be the official sponsor of the NASCAR Pinty Series in Canada. Pick up a quality Pinty's chicken product at your local grocery store. As congratulations to Kevin Lacroix, who is out on his victory lap. He'll make his way back to the front straightaway and to Victory Lane, where he and his team will celebrate their win here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
And we'll hear from some of our competitors down in the garage area as they make their way back. And, of course, we'll hear from our winner in Victory Lane as he makes his way towards the making his way to Victory Lane. We'll hear from him. Joe Koss will be stopping in to get a word from our winner, the very first Pinty winner here at New Hampshire. Joe will be covering the garage area. Scott will be down in Victory Lane. Guides that car into our Sunoco Victory Lane, right in front of the banner for the Visit New Hampshire 100. As we said, the K&N Pro Series all staged and ready to go. And a reminder once again that following the conclusion of our Victory Lane ceremonies for the Musket 250 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, big post-race party down in the fan zone. So we'll invite you to stick around for that this afternoon. If you want to take a little time before leaving the Speedway, you can get down there and enjoy all there is to enjoy in the fan zone, including an after-race concert as well, Andy.
Yeah, and if you're looking for any more information on all the stuff going on in the infield and on the racetrack here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, check out the New Hampshire Motor Speedway mobile app for schedules, maps, important race day information, weather alerts, and much, much more. The New Hampshire Motor Speedway mobile app. Also, be sure to check out the beer garden located in the fan zone up until 8 p.m. 4 of your favorite craft beers. They've got lots of great food. I see apple cider donuts. They've got French fries, sandwiches, and much more, all going on down in the fan zone. So be sure to check that out here all afternoon. And then, of course, as Pete told you, that concert, the Rory Scott Band, playing from 7 to 10 p.m. here tonight as the Victory Lane celebration begins. Kevin Lacroix out and on the roof of the race car. Now he'll talk to TV, and then our own Joe Koss.
winner of today's Visit New Hampshire 100. The bumper-to-bumper dodge was beautiful. You were basically wire-to-wire. Congratulations on your win. How'd it happen?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's super nice to come here. First time on the U.S. side for us, and on a big track like here. You know, it's a short track for the Cup guys, but for us, it's super nice, and it was a great feeling to drive here. We're not used to get to high speeds like here, but you know, after a few laps, I got comfortable on the car, and the bumper-to-bumper car was so good that was just an easy way to the victory lane, and it's nice to we have a lot of bad luck this year, and have the luck on our side today was very, very good.
Kevin, what was it about this car and you today that kept the other drivers from being able to catch up with you? They just could not keep up with 74.
Yeah, it's just, you know, when you have a car like this, everything seems easy, and you feel slow in the car, and that's where you go fast. When sometimes, you know, you're 5, 6, 7, 8, and you're just pushing so hard to get the fast, and you can't get up to speed, and now today was just the opposite. So when the car is good like this, it's easy, and you know, you don't get these cars, good cars like this every races, so you have to enjoy it.
Well, welcome to New Hampshire. Congratulations on being the first ever Pinty Series race winner in a U.S. race here in New Hampshire. Congrats. Go enjoy with your team. And Ryan Vaughn from the Division of Travel and Tourism for New Hampshire will present you with your Visit New Hampshire 100 trophy. Congratulations to Kevin Lacroix. Let's go now trackside to Joe to get us started with our K&N Apple Barrel 125.
Well, thank you, Scott. Race fans, it is now time to get underway in the K&N Pro Series East in the Apple Barrel 125. Please welcome the Grand Marshal for today's event, General Manager of Camping World, Matt Laughlin.
Drivers, start your engines!